AJ.
This is why they pay me the big bucks.
Penick on your left, Brandon Ayers on your right. You guys are probably familiar with John Penick from Springfield, Massachusetts, Missouri.
Wow.
Penick didn't come that far. I actually traveled to Massachusetts on my way here.
It was one of your many
stops.
stops.
Yeah, we took a stop over there. I went to Fenway, and then I went to Atlanta, and then I got here. So it's nice this time of year. John Penick playing Blue, White, Red Flash. He does have 4 copies of Boros Reckoner, where Jonathan Job does not. This is a much more traditional deck. This is very, very akin to the Jerry Thompson version.
Yes.
The things that are kind of unique here, he does have the Harvest Pyre, of course, but he has a main deck Blasphemous Stack to go along with one main deck.
Yeah, Pyre and Act. You never know which one's coming out.
Am I going to get ya?
Yeah.
But on your right, you have Brandon Ayers, a player from Nebraska who is playing Jund.
Yep, this is just, adaptation of the Team SCG, the Owen Turdenwald, if you will, Jund deck with, a couple Arbor Elves thrown in there in a bunch of removal and mid-rangey cards. Hooray.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah.
Is you're going to see a promo Farseek.
I didn't realize until round 1 that that existed.
I actually didn't know that it existed. I just assumed that it was a promotional Farseek.
Just now?
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
I did that round 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's from.
I think it's this month's F&M.
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
the newest F&M.
Okay. So you see a Thought Scour here from John. He's going to turn over a Hollow Fountain and a Restoration Angel, draw a mystery card.
All right, let's talk about Thought Scour. Thought Scour is a card that I absolutely love in these flash decks. It increases the utility of your Snapcasters. It gives you the most information about what your deck is, what the configuration of your library is, so that you can play accordingly. And it acts as like a tutor as well as powering your Snapcasters, and both because you're flipping cards that you can then potentially cast, and because it's just a cheap spell that you can use your Snapcasters on if you have nothing else to do to get value from them. And without a lightning bolt or something available, a brainstorm say, you need to be able to do that.
As we are going to see Brandon cast a Thragtusk here. Thragtusk is going to resolve. Penick opted not to cast Boros Reckoner.
He also has a Dissipate, which he chose not to cast. So I think this is just a Spear Angel type stabilization, and he's going to save the Dissipate for, say, a Garrick or a Rakdos' Return, something that's a little harder for John to answer straight up. He'll accept the sort of 1.5 for 1 on Thragtusk and save the Dissipate for a more threatening spell from Brandon.
You saw John play a Hollow Fountain play untapped. Brandon tapping all his mana right now. He's going to cast another Thragtusk, which was his draw step for the turn. And now it's decision-making time for Penick on if he wants to let this one resolve. Do I want to dissipate this? And he says that one's okay too, so he doesn't mind.
Yeah. He's got a couple Angels, and it looks like the Boros Reckoner is sort of his game plan, sort of what he's going to lean on to help him out with these Thragtusks and Thragtusk babies.
Yeah, many turns down the road is when you're probably going to see this Boros Reckoner. As you do see Sacred Foundry in John's hand right now. His draw step was an Augur of Bolas. You also see another Restoration Angel, that Boros Reckoner, and that Dissipate that we mentioned earlier. So now it's time to craft a game plan, because as you said, he wants to be able to have Dissipate available, and he's already made that very recognizable to us here in the booth and to you guys at home, because Jund has some very high impact spells that if they do resolve, the game is basically going to end. Rakdos Return being one of them, Garrick Primal Hunter being probably the other one right now. If either one of those do resolve right now, it's going to be a huge problem for Penick. So he is playing very conservatively and using his life total as a resource, as you're going to see Augur of Bolas here.
And John is also not, hiding his intentions at all, as if he could, to Brandon. He's just playing a Sacred Foundry untapped, leaving up exactly Dissipate mana, even before playing his Augur. I mean, Brandon, we already knew Brandon knew, also because of his, pre-combat Thragtusk, because if Penick then dissipates, then he doesn't have mana to Angel. Brandon has assessed the situation properly.
Now, the tough thing here is this strategy going to work? Because as you see in Brandon's hand, he does have a Murder. He's electing to attack right now with just the Thragtusk, and John looks like he's going to take it. But, does this strategy work? Because let's say that, Brandon just casts a Murder on the Restoration Angel, and then he's like, all right, in with the idiots.
Right.
You know, then his plan kind of goes up in smoke. Also, casting this Hunt Master of the Fells also makes things equally difficult because now Brandon is attacking John's life total, which he's already taken some damage from his lands, and putting more presence on the board. So if John does have to, you know, cast a Supreme Verdict or something like that, then the Rakdos Return gets the green light,
yes,
and the Dissipate is down. So does this strategy actually work, or should it be pulled the trigger a little bit earlier than Dissipate?
Well, by letting this resolve, John is once again leaning really hard on his blockers, right? He's relying on that Restoration Angel to sort of carry him to the point of the game where he feels like he can get back into it and with say a Supreme Verdict or what have you. But that murder that you mentioned is the exact wrench that goes directly into what Penick is trying to accomplish.
And so now you see John cast a Boros Reckoner finally, something he could have done on turn 3, elected not to keep holding up Dissipate, which was understandable then, but now you can see why he needs to actually cast this Boros Reckoner. And now you see Ayers draw an Overgrown Tomb, put it in play untapped, and you're going to see a Rakdos Return here for 4, AJ, and this was the worry all along.
Well, John, he used his Thought Scour that he got off of the Augur and his draw step. He was just hoping for a 6th land there so that he could play Reckoner while holding up Dissipate. He didn't get it, but he knew that, you know, if he didn't hit, he's priced into playing his Reckoner. He needs it to stabilize. He needs it to not die. And at that point, he just had to hope that Brandon didn't have the Rakdos Return. But there it is.
So Rakdos Return takes care of Penick's hand of Dissipate, Boros Reckoner, Azorius Charm, and Restoration Angel. John just playing off the top of the deck. Now Brandon, plenty of things in play, and as you're going to see, a Searing Spear here from John. He's deciding what to target. As I was going to say before he actually drew a spell, is that he actually needed to draw a spell that turn.
Otherwise the Hunt Master flips.
Because the Hunt Master flips too. So Penick is in a world of trouble here, and don't forget, of course, is that he still has that murder in his hand. And as you see him come across here with Thragtusk, the Beast token, and the Wolf.
He's just going to let John block with the Reckoner, thinking that it's going to work, and then murder and trample for lethal.
And you nailed it. And John does extend the hand. Brandon Ayers
does light handshake.
Yeah, he's a light handshaking kind of guy.
Yeah.
You want him to send it across firm?
Yeah, no, it was just
a game that was like kind of one-sided.
Yeah.
Great game.
No.
It's a pleasure.